Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday morning, guys. So guys, before I go into the gym, I wanted to have this conversation with you guys. It's something that I've been really studying up on the last couple of months, and I truly identify, and I finally understand, and I finally have a group of people who I think it's 20% in the world, from what I read. A group of people in the community who understands me and I understands them. And that is my highly sensitive people. Now, again, highly sensitive people in empaths, kind of run neck to neck, but there's some other things with a highly sensitive person may experience that an empath does not. But kind of at the end of the day, they both feel everything. Every emotion, good or bad, times two than just your average person. Some people look at it as a curse. I tend to always look at things from the glass half full. I see it personally as a blessing because, yeah, you're rare. You're rare. You're one of the people in the world who, you move through emotions. You're not driven by just that, how the average person thinks, like just, okay, I just got to focus on myself. I got to climb these ladders. I'm not going to help anybody else. That's other people's responsibility. I don't care about anybody's hurting in the world. I don't care about the homeless people. I don't care. That's not my business. I just care about me and mine and going higher. Right? I mean, that's society. That's the world. Right? It is what it is. But with highly sensitive people and empath, we care about everything, and we care about everybody else. And it's like we have this calling to just save the world, save everybody. Everybody should be such and such and nice and grateful and help each other and hold hands in the world and collect up all the homeless people and let them sleep in our spare bedroom, right? You see the difference? So the reason why I see it as a gift is because God can use you more. Right? Because what do God want us to do? He wants us to help our brothers and our sisters. So it's a gift. God uses you in so many ways to be a blessing to other people. It can be a curse. And here's why it can be a curse. A lot of times as an empath or a highly sensitive person, you don't know how to put up boundaries. It's difficult to put boundaries in place because remember, you feel other people's emotions. So when you start putting boundaries in place and saying no, or I can't do that, or I'm not going to allow that, you feel what the other person is feeling. So that other person may now be feeling sad or disappointed. And I know the average person is saying, well, that's their business. And I get that. But when you're highly sensitive, your brain don't work like that. You feel their emotions. And then that's why you find yourself going back and saying, you know what? All right. I'll do it. Or I can't. Yeah. Okay. And then you're overstimulated because you're frustrated because you don't know how to put these boundaries in place. So that's one thing that an empath and a highly sensitive person have to really, really work on. Be intentional about is putting boundaries in place. Because remember, you're only a 20% group of the world. So if the other 80% is all about self and selfish, and here you are selfless, what would they do? They'll take advantage of you. They will target you. So you have to be intentional about that. So, yeah. All right. So again, I am no psychiatrist. I'm just speaking from my own personal experiences. There's so many videos on YouTube. So if you guys are interested, just look on YouTube under highly sensitive people, HSP. And if that is you, it will blow your mind. It will make you realize oh my goodness, all of my life I felt this way. So what I've been reading up on was a lot of people, since they were very, very young, they were always told you're too sensitive, or you're too reactive, you're too emotional, you're a crybaby, right? And this is men and women. There's so much men on this forum. And guys, this is why you have to be very careful about allowing people to put, again, these labels on you about beta and this and that. Just because you are an emotional man and you feel through your emotions when you were told, or many men think everything have to be physical. Just because you live your life being, an emotional being, that doesn't make you less of a man. And that's important to understand that. And that's why a lot of times you have grown men who are reacting and not being able to communicate effectively or to express their emotions effectively. Because again, growing up, they've heard, you cry too much, you're too sensitive, man up, you're not a little girl, right? Now, how does that feel for a child who can't even express that they feel through their emotions because they're a highly sensitive child? They can't express that. I mean, half can even, well, men or women can't even express that now. I'm just learning this. So here's the other few things that I jotted down. Again, you were told as a child you were too sensitive. Also, as an adult, this is why you have to be careful allowing people to put boundaries on you, men and women. You know, people are so quick to say, oh, this person is going through depression, this person is bipolar, this person is this. And the truth of the matter is, people will place labels on you when they don't understand a certain thing, right? So let's just take a highly sensitive person. Let's say you put them in a situation, right? They could be in an argument. I'm just saying a disagreement. Okay, you got two people who have a disagreement. Well, of course, both people are going to be emotional, right? But the highly sensitive person is feeling their emotion, their frustration, and they're feeling the emotion of the other person. So you have it times two. And that's why you get more stimulated. You spaz out to a higher degree, right? Not making it okay, but it is what it is. You spaz out to a higher degree because you're feeling everything. The woulda, coulda, shouldas. You're feeling how the other person is feeling and the disappointment on the other person. And you're trying to deal with your own. So all that stuff times 10. And then this is why people don't understand you, right? And so what's the first thing you say? Oh, you're bipolar. Because they only see that you're reacting, and they don't realize that you're reacting because you're overstimulated. That doesn't make you bipolar, right? So this is why we have to be careful about allowing people to put labels on you. Here's another thing that you could potentially be a highly sensitive person. You're a deep thinker, right? You can tell somebody, you can have two people sitting at the table and you can just tell both people the same thing, and one person may just think about it for 2 seconds and never think about it again. The highly sensitive person, you're sitting there pondering this thing. Like you're going to see it from all kind of views. Like you're pondering it. Your thoughts are going all over the place. You just got to deep think about it. Right? Another thing, because you're so sensitive, you can walk in a room with one person, or you can walk in a ballroom full of 1,000. You know exactly when you approach a person, or vice versa, or have a quick conversation, you know exactly who the sorry guys, you know exactly who the authentic people are. There's no question about it. It's instant. It's not something you have to sit there and ponder. And then on the flip side, you know exactly who the phonies and the fakes are. They can be smiling, smile big as the sunshine, or the Walmart smiley face, but you know instantly their spirit is not right and it's fake and phony, right? So as a highly sensitive person, your discernment game is on fleek. Is fleek still the word? Your discernment game is on fleek. And truth of the matter is, if you are in tune and you're intentional about following your discernment, there's a chance. I won't say you won't ever get burned in life, but when you compare yourself to somebody who's not highly sensitive, when you look at the number of times you've been hurt or burned, most times it's because you ignored that discernment and that red flag from the jump. Because maybe that person was beautiful, maybe that person had something that you thought you want and all that stuff, and you kind of ignored the red flag, and then you got burned. But as a highly sensitive individual, you know instantly who is real people and who is not. And in fact, the ones who are not, is like you want to get away from. Like you can be having a conversation, but you will cut it short because it disturbs your spirit so bad that you just know they're not good people. All right, next thing. So, well, I said that earlier. Either you cry or you react. So either you're a crier or you're a reactor. Reactor, again, can be what? Spazzing out, throwing things, punching holes in the walls, turning the house upside down, pop you in the head when you're sleeping. A reactor, a crier or a reactor. Highly sensitive people can also be introverts or extroverts. Now, from my research, a lot of them are more introverts, but there's a good group of people who are extroverts. Like myself, I'm an extrovert. Like I said, I'm the life of the party. Wherever I go, I don't care where I don't care where I go. I can go to the moon or I can go to the doghouse. Wherever I'm at, I'm going to be the life of the party. But because you're sensitive, highly sensitive, wherever you are, again, you're feeling everybody's energy. So you can have 30 people in the room. That's a lot of energy that you're having to feel at once. Mind you, most people in the world are not good people. So you're feeling that heaviness from the people. And then, your small number of people, whatever, even if they're good people, you're still feeling their energy. There can be somebody in the room who's going through a divorce and smiling like crazy, but you still pick up on this person's energy. They're smiling, but you pick up on their energy. Like, he's hurting. And guess what? You can't even take your eyes off this person. Everybody in the party is enjoying themselves, not thinking about nothing. Or even if somebody knows that this person is hurting, they're just like, well, he got to man up. He got to man up. Right? Because see, that's how the majority of people think. But highly sensitive, no, I need to help him. And so now you're carrying emotions of everybody in the party, including the toxic people. You're feeling the emotions of the one man who's going through divorce. You're feeling the emotions of everything you dealt with that day times 10. And then you're overstimulated, and now you have to leave. And guess what happens when you leave? You're shutting everything down. The phone, leave me alone, don't call me. Because you have to get that energy back up. You got to expel all the stuff that's in you, and you have to get to a place of solitude so you can get back filled. And this is well, I ain't gonna say that. Here's another thing. Many highly sensitive. Now, this is definitely me. This is definitely me. A lot of highly sensitive people don't like talking on the phone. It's something about the phone. I'm thinking now, as I was listening to one of the recordings last night, it just could be that when you're on the phone, you're feeling that person's energy, right? And what if this person has like 15 children and all the children in the house are running crazy and they're pulling the phone, mama, daddy, da, 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 I'm hungry, I'm da, 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 da. All that stuff is going on at one time, and you're just like, oh, can I call you back? Can you just text me, please? Let me call you back. It's too much. It's just too much. So that's why we would rather have like that one-on-one conversation face to face or text and email, but all that is too much stimuli going on at one time. So you got your stuff going on in the house and you have their stuff times 2. And that's not for everybody, of course. Another tip that I was reading up on is you have a difficult time focusing. Now, here's the kicker. When you focus. But you have a difficult time focusing if there's a lot going on. Like, for example, I can procrastinate. Okay, let's take writing a book, for example. I could know that I need to be writing. I've set myself up to write a chapter per week, let's just say, for example. If I'm to a point where I'm not focused because I have other things going on, there's other things going on with me or whatever's going on. If I can't have all focus, it falls to the wayside. And then I get frustrated and I'm disappointed because I missed my goal. But on the flip side, when I'm going through a week or a month where I don't have a lot going on and I'm able to shut down all distraction and focus, I can write that same book that would probably take a year if I kept being distracted in a week. So when we focus, we're focused. But a lot of times we're distracted because there's so much going on in our world. And it's not even our stuff. It's the stuff of the world. So we will be happy to go to the moon and just chill with a book. All right. Here's another thing about highly sensitive people. Well, I've said that you feel others' emotions. I mean, you just can't even avoid that. You can't even avoid that, especially if you live, you got children and you have a wife or a husband. By the time you get home from work, you're already burnt out from coworkers and from this and people at the grocery store. Now you come home and then your husband can, tell you everything's fine, but you can tell his spirit is down. Maybe he had a bad day on the job and he's telling you everything is fine, but you feel everything. Like, no, what happened, boo? What happened? And you really want to know, right? Even though you're tired and you probably don't have any more capacity left to take anything else, you really want to know, because you can't let your husband go to bed until you fix his problem, right? Or attempt to fix his problem. A problem that has nothing to do with you, meaning it has to do with you, but it's nothing that you can do to even fix it, but you feel like you have to fix it. And then when you do, what happens? You get frustrated because you had no more capacity, but you added that on, and now you're frustrated, and now you're overstimulated, and now you're reacting. Make sense? It's crazy, right? Next, you have extreme awareness of your surroundings. Listen, when I read that one, I'd be thinking about the times I'd be like in Walmart, and I'm constantly on edge. Not edge, but let somebody walk by me with a backpack on their back. like you're constantly, like everybody else will kind of just be in their own zone, picking up the pickles, picking up the tomatoes. They don't have a thought to think. They're not thinking about nothing else. And you're the one person in the store looking around like, okay, why this dude got this backpack on? He done walked past me 5 times and he got this backpack on and he has nothing in his hand. And now you're looking around for any escape route just in case. So you're very in tune with your surroundings. Like you have eyes all around your head. And you know what's so crazy? People will never look at you and know how highly sensitive you are, because it's not something that shows on the outside, except when you're reacting. Like somebody then piss you off and now you're reacting, because it is going to come out. Like, it is going to come out. It's going to come out. And, yeah. So anyway, what else did I write down? Criticism. Ooh. If I had to pick one thing off the list that I wrote down and was studying last night, criticism. Highly sensitive people cannot handle criticism, even if it's constructive criticism. And this is why it's important to have people in your life who understand you. I think a lot of times what we do, we keep trying to find people who we can change. We're not going to change people. We just can't change people. I mean, we just can't change people. So sometimes it's about finding somebody who's willing to help understand you, right? If it's something that you can't change. So, for example, okay, if I know that I'm I'm laughing because I was talking to someone last night who's another highly sensitive person, and we were just talking about criticism, and oh my goodness, like it was so crazy how much we laughed at this, because you can think back on some of the most petty stuff that someone said to you. It could be petty and it could be the most constructive criticism, but because you're sensitive, highly sensitive, you take that thing and you multiply it times 10. So they can say something to you like, let me think of something. You need to slow down when you talk. Let me just say that. And mind you, it can be very, very constructive. Like, you know what? You have a great, now no one ever said this to me, but I don't know, maybe I'm thinking, I don't know. But you need to slow down when you talk. You have a great speech. You have a great X, Y, and Z. But I think if you slow down, because other people are maybe not from down south and they have a hard time understanding you, honey, you take that as you need to slow down because you don't know what you're talking about. You need to slow down because nobody wants to hear you. You need to slow down. And now before you know, you're like, well, what do you mean I need to slow down? Well, let me tell you what you need to do. And it's not even personal. But remember, you're sensitive. You're not sensitive, you're highly sensitive. So this is why it's important to stop, pause, right? And make sure that you are looking at it from a different perspective. Now, we do know we have some petty people who just want to say things because sarcasm, that's one thing that you pick up on. That's one thing that will get you your edges snatched. Sarcasm. Because when people are sarcastic, you guys know what that is, right? They say something and then it's like, oh, I was just playing. They'll say something like, I don't know, girl, you're such and such. And then when you correct them accordingly, like, oh, I was just playing. No, you were not. Sarcasm. So you sarcastic people, if that's you, send me an email because I got a word for you. I don't like sarcastic people. But back to criticism again. People can truly be telling you something to help you, right? And they really mean it from their hearts, but you're taking it the wrong way because remember, you were always told you're too sensitive. So it's almost like you're defensive about that. But I think that's something very, very, very important to work on, and being able to take it and see it from a different perspective. When you have people who understand you and people who really they know you, and that happens, I believe if you address it and let them know, like, you know what, you maybe you didn't mean any harm, but it did hurt my feelings. Most time they'd be like, listen, everything hurt your feelings. Like, okay, I apologize. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I was just trying to say that you have people from other states or other countries who may not be able to pick up on your fast talking. Like, they'll help you understand it. This is why it's good to have people around you who are open enough to being understanding, because the same way they have to understand things about you, there's some crazy ways about them that you may not understand, but if you're understanding and hearing them, you're willing to work with them and not to shut them down. Because when you shut down a highly sensitive person, that's not good, So rather than shutting people down, help people to help you understand them. Another thing is passionate. You're extremely passionate. If you put your mind to something, it's going to get done. Anything that you believe in, feeding the homeless, helping the animals, saving the caterpillars, whatever, starting that book, that business, your career, you're passionate. So guess what? Now you see how that sensitivity can be used for a greater purpose. Because now you can take that same energy, right, and apply it to whatever it is that you're working on. So now you're extremely passionate. What else do I have written down here? Conflict. Most highly sensitive people don't like conflict. I don't think nobody likes conflict, but I think with a lot of highly sensitive people, because when conflict is going on, what's going on? You have emotions bouncing all over the place from everybody. You just don't like conflict. Like you just want to solve the problem. You want to get into the middle of it and be like, everybody, let's just hold hands and pray. Okay. You hate failure. You hate failure. And see, with failure, you take it as, it's like you take it personal, right? So like, let's say you went through a divorce, right? Well, divorces happen. It didn't work out. Your marriage failed. But you take it as you are a failure. That's two completely different things. You are not a failure because your marriage failed, but you will take those emotions and apply it to yourself personally when you are a highly sensitive person. You hate inconsiderate people. You hate inconsiderate people, and on different levels. It can be, I don't know, you're busy doing something. You just told this person an hour ago that, hey, I'm going to call you back because I'm working on some things and I'm really busy today and I got so much stuff on my desk. I'm going to be shut down for the rest of the day. Like, let me call you back. And then 15 minutes later, they're calling you, even though you've been clear that you have your own stuff going on today and you really don't want to be bothered. And they're calling you with some foolishness. They're inconsiderate. They're thinking about themselves. And again, you're overstimulated because you got your own stuff going on, which is automatically stimulation. And now they're calling you, and whatever they're telling you, like, oh, guess what happened today? I lost my job today. I'm just saying, right? Now you're feeling all their hurt and all their pain from the job they lost, as well as the frustration that they didn't respect your boundaries, as well as all the stuff on your desk that's not being touched. All that stuff is going on at one time. I use it as an example. Somebody called and lost their job. Put your pen down on top of it and have a conversation for a few minutes with these people who lost their job. Two more things. You hate when people are mean to others, especially, for example, let's just say you're at a gas station and you see like a homeless guy begging for money or something, and somebody drives by and says something stupid like, get a job, go to work, right? Whatever. Again, if you're not highly sensitive, you probably think that, well, yeah, it's going to work. Well, what a highly sensitive person, you're looking at all the other stuff. Like, what if he had a job and he lost his job because of the quarantine? What if he had a lot of major hits in his life and he lost a lot of people and he went through depression and he fell off and never could get back up? What if he worked at the GM factory and that's all he ever knew? He never went to college. So now that he's 74, nobody would hire him. You look at things all like that. So it pisses you off when people are mean to others. And that's just one scenario. It can be a lot of stuff. Like, you're not going to be the person who just sit there and let somebody like be mean to a person for no reason. Like, you either find yourself stepping in or you just want to make it right, solve the problem. Okay, last thing that I have is, and I mean, the list is like forever, but the last thing I have is something that I have not done in about 2 years. I do not watch the news. Nope. I do not watch the news. I don't watch no crazy movies, no scary movies. Anything that cause for overstimulation and just all that hurt and that pain. Like, you have people who can sit down. Like, I know somebody who can sit down, well, probably most people, if I'm honest, can sit down and watch the news. And I'm not talking about like politics and none of that stuff. I'm talking about 5-year-old shot today, elderly people beaten because they're age. Like, listen, that would not ruin my day. That will ruin my month. So this is why with highly sensitive people, and because you feel everything, this is why you have to be careful, and why you may experience a day or 2 or 3 of depression, because all that stuff, you're carrying that stuff, and people wouldn't understand. They'll just say, just watch the news. I mean, it's the world we live in, get over it, right? But you can't expect for just an average normal person, because you're not normal, you're special, you're gifted. So you can't expect for just a normal person to understand why you can't sit there and watch the news with them. I've been places like in the nail shop and things like that, and when I see certain stuff about to come on, listen, let me go to my car right quick. I gotta get something out my car. I'll be back in a few minutes. Honey, I can't do it. I cannot do it. I cannot do it. I will be sitting there crying about a story that happened on the other side of the world because I'm feeling all of that. So guess what? You're not feeling just the empathy of that 5-year-old who got shot. You're feeling literally what her mother is going through, what her classmates are going through. You're feeling all of that on top of your own sensitivities of what you're dealing with, times 5. So that's just a list of many. There are so many more. If you guys have any, if you guys are a highly sensitive person, again, if you've been told things like, you have anxiety, and maybe you could, because again, if you don't have boundaries, all those extra stimulations, it leads to that. It leads to having anxiety because you're taking too much in, if you've been told that you deal with depression, and hear me now, again, I'm not saying that has to be a reason why you have depression or not. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, make sure before people put labels on you that you have done your own research, because it could be that you're having bouts of depression because, again, you don't have boundaries and you're watching the news all day and all this heaviness and sad stuff is in your spirit and you're carrying it around and you can't get out of bed because your energy is depleted, But if you're a highly sensitive person, especially my men, you are not weak. You are strong. There's strength in that. You're just different. You're different. The world is all about self. You're about others. Embrace that. Embrace being different, right? Just make sure you're learning to put up proper boundaries so you're not always overstimulated and you're either crying or reacting 24 hours a day. So I hope this helps someone. You guys comment, let me know, or send me an email at rockkizzy18gmail.com. You guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.